Teal there. Just a little consideration today about the recent happenings with certain YouTubers signing themselves into UKIP for some reason, and possibly just a bit of a dumping ground for my own, perhaps unwarranted cynicism. Many moons ago I mentioned that things regarding the Count Dankula Nancy Pug nonsense had landed the problems with internet censorship in the back garden of the average internet shitposter. With the rise of Articles 11 and 13 in the EU, this has expanded out, and now the battle for internet censorship has landed in the laps of the average internet user. Surely then this is the ideal time for people of the internet to rally together in some manner of cohesive force to make some sort of social change for the better of the medium that we all inhabit. This brings us to the recent news of YouTubers such as Paul Joseph Watson, Sargon of Akkad, Count Dankula and Milo joining the United Kingdom Independence Party. The first question is, what exactly does this mean? Well, simply put, it means they've paid for membership to a political party and now get to carry around a little plastic card. That's about it. Going further, of course, there is the implication that they would bring a number of their followers to UKIP, in such a fashion as to turn UKIP from a more or less politically dead-end party with basically zero impact on British politics, especially post-Brexit, into some manner of mainstream contender. Now, this may sound an unfair thing to say, but let me try to quantify that for a moment. UKIP, as a political party, has around 21,000 members in the UK. The larger parties in the UK, the big three, the Liberal Democrats, sit at around 100,000, the Conservatives at around 124,000, although this number is not self-published and is estimated from third-party sources, and Labour at around 500,000. So we can see UKIP is basically politically irrelevant to the UK. They are not big players at all. They have their place, of course, but in the grand scheme of things as they currently stand, they aren't really going to be making any major shifts by themselves. With this in mind, I think it might be helpful to look at some numbers. Paul Joseph Watson has around 1.2 million subscribers, Sargon of Akkad around 800,000, and Count Dankula around 250,000. Now, with such high-profile internet-famous people joining a political party, surely you'd expect there to be waves made. Well, no. According to UKIP figures, as mentioned by Mauritian Struggle, a member of UKIP on the Coach and Benway podcast number 38, their total surge of new members was around 600, maybe peaking up to 1,000 at maximum. So what does this mean? Well, to me, it instantly demonstrates that internet fame means less than nothing in the real world. I've made this point repeatedly, but I can't help but think that this real-world demonstration hits the point. Even if you have 1 million subscribers, they're all over the world. They are all in different countries, they're all in different counties within those countries, and then in different wards within those counties. I've pointed out that the only way my subscriber count, for instance, could actually matter in some tangible IRL way would be if they were A, all in one country, but even then it would be limited, B, all in one county, or ideally C, all within one district. Then, and only then, could a call to political action actually be effective in the world of politics. Internet slacktivism is a wonderful thing, but is easy to ignore because, let's be honest, these days everyone knows of the Twitter hate mob, and the perpetually triggered who have nothing else to do with their lives other than complain on the internet and organise mass downvoting or responding to rigged polls. As a result, a bunch of emails and tweets seems to mean very little these days, other than allowing the people they are contacting to scream harassment even if such a thing is not happening. So, will this do anything? My thoughts? Probably not, based on what's happened thus far. Sure, there's been a lot of bloviating from the aforementioned about joining UKIP and turning it into the trolling, salt-mining party riding the because why the fuck not, they piss off the right people train that the Trump campaign was partially carried by in the US. The crucial difference there being that Trump ran with a mainstream party, the Republicans, and UKIP is nothing near that sort of size or visibility. Will anything actually change as a result of this? Well, once again, I can't help but think that the answer is no. If the mentioned numbers are to be believed, a 600 to 1,000 member increase for one of the smaller political parties in the UK will not impact the course of the party's success in any tangible way at all. The number is simply too small, and the distribution locations too wide. Perhaps this is a slow burn issue and it will take some weeks or months for those numbers to increase, but once again I feel compelled to point out the fragmented nature of the audience of these internet famous nobodies being, in large part, in totally different countries. However, I suppose there is the possibility of this changing in the future should these people use their large internet platforms to relentlessly campaign on behalf of the political party they are now a member of. A move that could work to increase the number of new additions to a legitimate political party, but that would also stand to potentially alienate large parts of those audiences who disagree with the politics of that party. Listening to someone you like talking about politics is one thing. Listening to someone you like relentlessly shilling and spamming you with adverts and calls to action for a political party you don't care for, or may even actively dislike, is another thing entirely. Of course, the mainstream reaction to this news, and I use the term news there very loosely, has of course been the predictable salt-based avalanche of meaningless slurs and snarl words of right-wing, alt-right, reactionary, conservative, far-right, etc. ad nauseum, with no actual mention of why the actions of these people is supposed to be politically meaningful in any way at all, instead simply choosing to use it as another way to signal their virtue about how the authors of these hit pieces are not right-wing because right-wing is bad and evil and wrong, and if you call someone or something right-wing, that's all the arguments you need to make. Overall, it seems that this is just another drop in the 24-hour drama news cycle of the internet. Another event that won't really push the overall course of things one way or another in the grander scheme of things. It's a footnote at best, given the relative insignificance of any of the players involved on the political scale. Unless these people were to put themselves forward as MPs or MEPs, which I highly doubt they will do, then I see this as being an event that you could note down but not really pay a second thought to. One thing I will, however, mention, and this is a matter of personal taste more than anything else, I find this push to brand this move towards UKIP as a manner of last-ditch attempt because we have no other choice, as one such video actually stated, quote, UKIP because fuck it, we're out of options, end quote, to be extremely ridiculous. The reason being that UKIP is a political party. A serious political party. Indeed, they are one of the few parties that in recent times has stood against Articles 11 and 13 in the European Parliament and had any degree of success in doing so, thus painting the organisation as if it's some sort of last-ditch attempt being turned to through nihilism, rather than any actual love for the party or its positions or strategies, is frankly insulting to the party. A kind of, well, I don't actually like you, but I'll put up with you for now because it's convenient to me and my narratives and strategies, now put this bag over your head so I don't actually have to look at you. We've seen how internet shitposting, shitlordery, or whatever other word you'd use to describe the anti-PC movements of the internet culture are treated. They are instantly labelled as extremists, bigots, idiots, uneducated, and various other snarls and insults. Basically not taken seriously at all, even when they are able to make a change for the better. This seems to be largely because of the association with this nihilistic attitude. Any good that they do is often rephrased as something negative anyway. I have a slight concern that taking this meme culture, oh look at us, we're so edgy because we don't take politics seriously despite talking about politics almost exclusively for a living, and trying to brand a move towards UKIP with it, will simply act to further discredit the party and give easy ammunition to detractors. I can't help but think that if you want to have an association with a political party taken seriously, then you have a certain duty to reflect well on the party in question, and not simply use the existence of the party as some sort of attention-seeking move on your part to bolster your own ego and build your own reputation, while bringing nothing to the table yourself. Or, even worse, bringing a negative image and attention to the party you superficially want to support. Remember, when you enter the world of politics, you are not attempting to convince your already existing user base. People who are already familiar with you, your attitude, bearing, general means of carrying yourself, and various cultural memes that you work around. Instead, you are trying to convince the normies. The people who have never heard of you, which is the vast majority of people. But it's okay, I'm sure people will be convinced to join a political party by spamming interracial gay porn on Twitter, shouting that people are being white niggers, and various other easily findable pieces of information. And no, this is not a call for self-censorship or any such nonsense like that. Just a reminder that if you're going to step into the world of politics proper, you need to up your game and actually try to be somewhat respectable.